Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's video I'm going to go over the long promised Relics Pairings, like a guide or mini suggestions type tier of video. So this is not updated tier list, this is tier list from the last season I believe, so I didn't really put any newest relics in here. I'm not even sure which ones are missing, I have to check. As of right now, this tier list is still valid in my opinion, it's not going to change a lot. So Magatama, although I don't think it's as much as top priority now, the belt is the key for the pushing a lot of PV. So apart from that, the planar gate should be the second, and then sarcophagus or something like that. I won't do the tier list now, but it's still a somewhat valid tier list. The main thing about today's video is going to be talking about the relics combos. So for example, something like Celestial Trials, you will always use the Thunderbolt. The Thunderbolt will push every single Celestial Trial possible. It's simply coded that way. It does insane damage to the PV in the Celestial Trials, to the point it will one-shot tons of them. But you can push Celestial Trials to 150 without abusing it. You can use Arcane Doorbella and something like Sarcophagus, Kusanagi and Planar Gate or Magatama even, but it won't be as effective as it is with the Thunderbolt. The Gleipnir is no longer really needed, in my opinion it's a bit outdated, so I would move Kusanagi actually up here, or rather like that, yeah. So Planar Gate is also far better than the Kusanagi if it's at the higher stars level, so moving this here and this here would be my correction now, and then actually moving the Gleipnir here. Gleipnir was the shining thing in its release, but it really got power crabbed as soon as the new season started. So unfortunately, a lot of players that invested into it have not really found its use apart from PvP now. So yeah, Thunderbolt does clear every single Celestial Trial boss, and then some Planar Gate is the close second, and then Magatama. Apart from that, you can use the Lance for double actions, the Sarcophagus for more ults, which I do believe Sarcophagus does perform a bit more. Planar Gate is strong in the early game, but not really. I did make this in like last 2 seasons, in the past 2 seasons, but I didn't really bother making video on it yet, but now I'm updating as the things go by and as I have discovered more metas in the Celestial Trials. So yeah, that's the adjustments I would make. So Thunderbolt, the highest priority for the Celestial Trials. At just 3 stars it will clear every single boss, but you will need Pandora to finish them off and some decent buffer like Hela or Lucifer. Then for the Lost City you will need banner for pretty much everything. Unless your stats are far higher, then you will use Sarcophagus instead of banner. Basically you will also use Planar Gate everywhere, and then Kusanagi or Magatama. I'm not sure which one, but either of them works. So this is the second combo. Obviously you will want to use Planar Gate with this combo as well, so because Planar Gate simply is not replaceable and it's actually too strong. It will make Lost City chapters really easy, especially if it's 7 stars. You won't even need banner because the Planar Gate provides immortality for 2 rounds. So you will use something like Sarcophagus into Planar Gate into Kusanagi or Magatama. The budget version of it would be something like Lance, or even if you need survival you would have to use the chest into the Swords of Chaos. So something like this was the old tech when we didn't have much of Holy Shields. So something like this was used for the sustain, and you would end up using a reset relic like Night's Edge. This would give you the highest odds of sustain in the past days and in the early game. So for example, as I mentioned in the Celestial Trials, you everything you need is Thunderbolt, but Thunderbolt gets enhanced by the chest because of its double trigger synergy. So you can use the chest, which is basically free nowadays from the seasonal shop. You can get it 3 stars easily. Thunderbolt and basically any Chrono Relic. This one used to be the best, but they fixed the interaction, so really anything will work for the Celestial Trials. For the Lost City you will always use Banner, because Banner just gives insane amounts of Holy Shields, which makes survival far easier. Then you end up using something like Kusanagi and Planar Gate for the easiest clear in my opinion, or Magatama on the last slot. Planar Gate has to be on the slot 2 because slot 2 is the only slot that increases its damage boost by 200%, which is really strong. If, as I said, your planner gate is at 7 stars, you can use something like Sarcophagus instead for the massive damage increase, and then do something like this, for example, and continue clearing your Lost City chapters or other levels. Then for the Palace of Penrose, you will want to use the Thunderbolt chest combo still, because it's really strong in the Palace of Penrose, because enemies after all do have insane amounts of HP, so the Thunderbolt still does hurt them. So this combo is still valid in here. It won't be as strong as in Celestial Trials, but it's still strong enough to use it, and then you will basically finish off enemies quite easier. Then the rest of the relics I put in here are basically all of the S+ tier relics you can use in this mode. Gleipnir being optional nowadays because of the Planar Gate. Obviously, Planar Gate is the best relic to use everywhere. And yeah, all of these relics, all of these combinations you can use. You can even use the Night's Edge instead of this. It's really optional. You can follow just basically clear records, but you can see the pattern. All of these relics are pretty much usable everywhere because they're just strong everywhere and will shine the best. So like the excelling everywhere, it's truly the same tier as it says. All of these relics do excel everywhere in every single PvE. Then for the Forgotten Lands, most used relic is going to be Sarcophagus, then it's going to be the Lance. The banner is not as used in here because you don't really struggle with sustain. Thunderbolt does still work in here, so I forgot to put it, but it still does work in here to an extent. It's not as strong as on the release, but it will get you some levels. But the Planar Gate is definitely the relic to go for, as it is for every single relic in here. You can use this, you don't have to. It's a mix of match of a lot of different synergy relics. I did finish this mode a long time ago, so I'm not sure if this got updated, but yeah, Sarcophagus still the best relic to use in all 4 bosses pretty much because of the damage increase it provides on each ultimate with Pandora or Arcane Dorabella, or even both. I do recall both are being used there in the same team. So yeah, or even Eudora. But yeah, Sarcophagus definitely relic, best relic for there. Then it's either Magatama, Kusanagi, Planar Gate, or basically anything. It doesn't really matter. Sarcophagus is the one that matters the most. Then it becomes the heroes. For the Rift Odyssey, so this mode no longer uses Magatama as much as it did in the past. It does use Sarcophagus the most. The Sarcophagus is the best relic in there for sure. Then we have Lance for the extra actions, and yeah, so Kusanagi and basically any reset relic will work. This might be even an overkill. Kusanagi with Sarcophagus is too strong in my opinion. You can use any reset relic in here, even Whip. I have seen a lot of Whips, so basically anything you have will work as a third reset or other chrono relic. So yeah, Flame Banner not as used as before in the mode, because the mode doesn't really need sustain anymore, and the Magatama dot damage doesn't do as much because it's now mostly action related Rift Odyssey, so the more actions the more chances you will kill it, which does help with Sarcophagus and the Lance, and something like the Scope, which brings additional action. So, but it's not really limited to these relics, as in most cases you will be enough with just Sarcophagus and Lance, and then likely Kusanagi, and the rest of the relics will be basically fillers, as it's mostly locked behind heroes and not really relics anymore, or rather the pets. The Challenge from Beyond, I did decide to use this because in every single Challenge from Beyond boss that is featuring the new relic, it's always MVP, the Maw, the Judgment Blades, and then the new relic. The sub for Maw I found good is the Underworld Key, but it's not as good as the Maw. So these 3 relic combos are the most used. The new relic could be even here, the placement doesn't matter. I just decided to feature the Maw and the Judgment Blade as the 2 combos. But unfortunately that is a bit outdated, so this is the newest meta on the mode. So it's actually the chest, the Thunderbolt, and the new relic, or another way, it doesn't matter. But yeah, this was in the past, but people figured out the belt is still the best here, is still the best relic by far. So using the chest to proc Thunderbolt multiple times with the new relic will result in the best results for this mode, as you can see right here. So yeah, this is a bit of a newer clear records, but you can still use the old combo for some decent results, but it's not as good as the chest into Thunderbolt into a new relic. And now to talk about the relic combo. So I did put a lot of images in here so you can scout them. Don't mind this is a bit outdated, but yeah, these images are going to show you how to do your relic combos and which is for which, and I'm going to shortly talk about them all. So the first image is the chest into the Cosmic Gourd into the Night Surge, the Night Surge being optional because any relic can be here. The logic behind this is to proc the chest instantly and proc the gourd. So this is for your Wukong team. So as you can see right here, so chest into gourd into any other turret chrono relic. So the logic is to proc chest as many times, or rather the gourd, so your Wukong will swap as many times as possible and get his scaling going on. That's why the chest, because chest procs other relics multiple times, so the gourd will trigger like 2 or 3 times, which means the Wukong will swap up to 9 times, and with the reset relic it will trigger again. So it's just a further way to enable your Wukong. The second combo is the chest into Chaos Blades into any Chrono Relic. So the same logic to proc the Swords of Chaos as many times as possible to get as many Holy Shields as possible. Better version of it is the chest into Banner into any Chrono Relic. The Chrono Relics are pretty much fillers. They don't really contribute a lot. So this is this, but just simply stronger. And lastly, we have the Excalibur, so to perma-stun your enemies, because if you proc Excalibur 2 or 3 times, all of the enemies will be stunned in the round 1. This was used a lot in the previous seasons to cheesy stun your enemies in this first round. Then we are going to the DPS check relic section, so this is Lance, Sarcophagus, Kusanagi. This relic combo makes up for a lot of actions, a lot of ultimates, and a lot of damage. You can use it in the PvE content, not PvP because it's pretty terrible for PvP. Then we have the Lance Gleipnir Kusanagi. This was also used when Gleipnir was released and was truly strong. So you would proc Lance, then Gleipnir, all of your allies would ult 2 times from the Lance and they would ult because you proc your Gleipnir, and then they will deal insane damage from the Kusanagi. Then we have the Lance, the Tempest Hammer, and the Judgment Blades. Judgment Blades being the fillers. So proc your Lance to perma-stun your enemies instantly. This is purely for the PvP. Then we have Lance Magatama Kusanagi, the PvE combo, the best DPS possible. Not really right now because of the Planar Gate and because Sarcophagus is better than Lance, but you can still use this combo to get excellent DPS checks. Yeah, the reason why the Kusanagi is last because you want to delay its proc as far as possible, so your heroes will stack up their damage and they'll then deal more damage basically. Then we have Banner Magatama Kusanagi. This is the combo for the PvE for the Lost City, so sustain from Banner, damage from Magatama and Kusanagi. You can replace Magatama now with Planar Gate, but you're also delaying Kusanagi proc to help your heroes scale up, and then proc Kusanagi so they deal more damage and don't waste the hits of it. Then we have Banner Lance Kusanagi, a bit of a different version, but this one, the one with Magatama is stronger. This one is only if you don't have Magatama because it was paylocked until now. The same logic applies for this one, Sarcophagus, and then ultimates cast from your heroes, so similar combo but far weaker. We have the chest, Gleipnir, and Cauldron. This is for PvP only, so you proc chest, you proc Gleipnir and Cauldron at the same time pretty much. So your heroes will ult the first round and they become immortal from the Cauldron. So you guarantee them ulting round 1 and being immortal to something like Reflect from enemies. Then we have the Ocean's Maw into Tempest Hammer into Judgment Blades. Ocean Maw does insane relic damage, Judgment Blades amplify it. So your deal and Tempest Hammer on its own does like 250% relic damage, which is also insane. So this is a relic damage combo for DPS dooms in the PvP. Don't use it in PvP, it won't be any good. Pretty simple, as much relic damage as possible. You can amplify this with the artifact that increases the relic damage by 1000%. Then the Mystifiers starter pack, basically Underworld Key into the Plague Bow into the Night's Edge. The Underworld Key will proc multiple times from this and perma-stun your enemies, and you will get tons of Holy Shields from the Plague Bow if all of these relics are at 9 stars. Then we have the Lance, the Tempest Hammer, and the Judgment Blades. A bit of a not so much a relic damage type version of this, but more of a I want to hit you 2 times and still deal the relic damage. Again, pure PvP dooms. Then we have Sarcophagus Kusanagi into the Dragon Blood Roar, which is just PvP combo, but I do not anymore run it with the Roar relic, or I will just call it X for the simplicity. I run the Frostclaw instead. The reason why I run Frostclaw is because all of these three relics share the strong freezing point, so this three relic combo is as much possible freezing points generation, but they also kind of don't work together, but they do. So they perform best when paired with Arcane Arabella. And that was it. Those were the combos. I have the Rasbark in the Swelling Shield combo. This is used in Doom's Ophelia to scale up HP, and then Sanctuary Relics. So the Swelling Shields and the Whip are basically the Sanctuary Relics that you shouldn't really divide. You should use both of these together always, the first relic being the optional relic. Another combo relics that you have is the Flaming Point generation. So you have the Rasbark and the X, and then you have Radiance combo, which is the Scepter and the Call of the Origin Sea, so they both provide Radiance. And there's few more relic combos that exist, and I will try to work on them. That was it for this video. Hopefully you understand some relics better now and which relics are the top absolute priority. Obviously it's the Thunderbelt, and after that it's probably something like Banner, Kusanagi, and Sarcophagus, and other relics in the Excelling Everywhere tier. And yeah, those were the combos of the relics I wanted to show in the past, and there's probably a few more that I have missed, but those were some of the older relics, such as this combo, and there's some of the new ones, such as these combos with the Sarcophagus, Kusanagi, and Magatama. I didn't include Planar Gate in here because it's still a bit too pay to win, so not a lot of players have it, but you can fit it in any PV into the middle slot and in PvP into the third slot. Pretty much never use it in the first slot, it's just wasted in there. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.